So I'll do a little video of underneath the car while it's on the hoist, and we're nearing completion. Yeah, so I've got trans cooler up here and additional radiator, and I've got my two thick sort of, well, there's one there, there's two thick water to air coolant lines that go underneath the car. And then we've got our trans cooler lines running underneath the radiator. Just got to find a spot where that's going to be happy and pin it back so it doesn't vibrate and make a mess. Yeah, so I've got a little problem with the brake lines at the moment. They just seem to be touching on everything. So I tried turning this all different types of ways, and it seems to be either hitting the tyre or hitting the body. So maybe we need to drop the car and have a look under there and see where it's sitting. But yeah, it's a bit of a debacle at the moment. I'll come back to that. Worst comes to worst, I'll just put the rubber lines back in. I've got a 50mm gate and a screamer pipe, pretty standard stuff, and I've got the ability to blum back. So that should make it nice and loud. And the clearance on the transmission is remarkably tight. You can even see, yeah, you can see that. Yeah, it's pretty close. So, and same with the cooler line. I tried to cover that up with a bit of 3 layers of heat stuff to try and stop the heat from getting to it. Because yeah, that gate's going to get pretty hot. Yeah, so there's 2 lines for the transcooler, and then you've got your 1-inch hose for the water to air. And then we've got an additional spot here, just ready for another cooler if needed. I didn't sort of know if there was going to be enough room in the front of the car to put all my coolers in. But yeah, we've got quite a bit of room here underneath the car if we're going to make a bigger one. Or if this thing even needs it, we'll see. Which we made the mount for, and I managed to use the initial IS300 A340, A650 mount, which is amazing that it fits so well, and yeah, it's bloody standard, so which is great. So we've made a mount for that, and put the shifter in. I did a bit of cutting, which is a bit more than I wanted to, but anyway, it's done. And yeah, so I've got a shifter linkage to make still, which is going to be fun because it's got to go in there of all places where all those little knots are. So I had to make a bit of a mess. Yeah, but otherwise it actually fits in there quite well. There wasn't much massaging to be done. Any massaging they had to do is a little bit on the firewall, which was a few hits on the hammer, and then quite a bit on the side over here where the linkage is going to go. You probably could have gotten away with less. So that's the Chrysler 300C 722.6, whatever it is, Mercedes transmission. Does fit rather well in an IS300. So yeah, people have asked me about that, so it didn't need much, and as you can see, it's plenty clear of the body. This is the lowest point of the car, and it's good. So yeah, so got flex fuel sensor on the return line from the reg, and then goes back into the surge tank. And then we've got just a Ford Falcon filter. Been using these for years. There's nothing wrong with them at all. They're certainly cheaper than buying on some aeroflow, and they're replaceable for $10. And yeah, so you can get them from everywhere, which is handy to have on the race day. What else we got here? So exhaust is all done. It's all so it's 3.5 inch down to this point here. And then we've got 3-inch and the rest, so we've got room for a catalytic converter and maybe even another muffler if it gets too loud. So we come back to that when it's up and running. Fuel lines, so just AN6, just PTFE, and they've sort of followed the same sort of route, of course, to try and get it away. And what we've done is we've gone with a rubber hose for the main tank, for the feed tank. So you've got fuel tank, which is 80 litres. That normally would go to the front part of the car. It's now turned around to go and fill the surge tank, which is the feed line. And that's got a little check valve on it. So if you turn the pump off with electrics, the fuel won't go back into main tank. So idea is we're going to run E10 in the main tank, or 98, and then E85 in the little tank when we get to the racetrack. So we can get around and get a bit further, and yeah, good to sort of have two systems of fuel, which is good. Yeah, so we've got feed line, 2 pumps going into one, feeds at the front, return line, obviously makes sense, and then an overflow. So when the surge tank fills up, it overflows back into the main tank. And then yeah, so it sort of fills it up, and it's a little closed system. It should work out all right. Diffs, the standard, just nothing special there. IS300 is supposed to be pretty good. Haven't fiddled with any of the suspension yet. That's all going to happen when the car's up and running. I'm just going to put some lowering springs in it for now, and some big brakes on the front, and some wheels on it eventually. Yeah, so we had to modify the bottom to fit the just sort of straight at that. Modify the bottom to make the tank fit. So we had somewhere for it to go. I've got like a little drain plug if we get a leak. And I've got to feed a drain as well, so I'll just get another hose and coil it up here with a valve on it, so you can empty out the fuel when it's been sitting for a while. So yeah, sort of almost at that stage. Yeah, muffler's all done. That was basically exactly what I wanted, so it's really easy to work on. Yeah, that's it.